What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation. So, in my review of the first Silent Night, Deadly Night film, I said that I have seen the fourth film before, and I'm telling you what, I've only seen it once before, this rewatch, and the last time I saw this movie, I did not like it. I was not a big fan. But after rewatching it, I actually liked this one. I thought this one was pretty darn good. And I think the reason I didn't like it initially is because I didn't know what to expect, and I thought it was going to follow the story of, you know, it didn't follow the story of Billy or Ricky. It was like its own thing. It was like a standalone sequel, and I feel like that put me off initially. But you know, this time I watched it, I knew what to expect going in, and I had a pretty good time with it because it's its own thing, and it's uh it's directed by Brian Yuzna, who I'm a pretty darn big fan of his work. He's done countless films. He did From Beyond. He was involved with the Reanimator films. He did Return of the Living Dead 3, and um, one of my favorite films that he's done is this film called Society, which is just this insane horror film. It stars Dick Warlock's son, and it's about these elites in society, and it's got all kinds of body horror. But yeah, Society is great. So this movie definitely, Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation definitely has that Brian Yuzna feel. And I was reading up on it. He was involved in the writing, and he kind of changed some stuff once he was like on board working on the film. So yeah, it definitely feels like a Brian Yuzna movie, which is cool. But anyways, jumping into a plot summary, the movie focuses on this woman, Kim, and she's a reporter. She's investigating this murder of this woman. There's this woman who fell off a building and spontaneously burst into flames. So it's kind of like a unexplained situation, and basically Kim isn't assigned to investigate this murder, but she takes it upon herself to investigate it. And while she is investigating it, she inadvertently links up with this coven of witches. And once she links up with this coven of witches, strange stuff, progressively stranger and stranger stuff starts happening. And this coven of witches, they're actually, they're preparing Kim for this ritual on Christmas Eve, and they eventually want her to perform a sacrifice. So that is the basic plot summary. First things first, I didn't even write this in my notes, but I gotta mention it. Reggie Bannister, who plays Reggie in the Phantasm movies, he's in this movie. He plays Kim's boss, and man, it's cool to see him. He's a straight up legend. He kills it in the Phantasm films. He's just a complete badass. He's got the quad barrel shotgun. He's got the skullet. My man is sporting the skullet in this movie as well, and yeah, it's cool to see him. He's got some dialogue. He's got some stuff to do. He's supposed to be kind of this a-hole boss, but yeah, I love his character. I love seeing him, and I love seeing him rock that beautiful skullet. It's a fantastic hairstyle. if I do, lose my hair one day, if I start balding, I'll probably have to grow out my hair in the back, and I'll have to rock the skullet Reggie style. So yeah, it's cool to see Reggie. Also, Clint Howard is in this movie, and I was watching. A lot of the times I like to watch these documentaries on low budget films and B horror films that give a behind the scenes look at these movies. And I recall Clint Howard talking about this movie in one of those documentaries. I'm not 100% sure my recollection is correct, but I'm like almost positive. I'm like 95% sure I was watching this one. And I think the one that he said this in it was called Direct to Video, Straight to Video Horror of the 90s. And in this one, he's talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 Initiation. And he talks about how, he's just playing this kind of dirty, greasy, grimy bum. So he's like, what the heck? I'm just going to drink a bunch of beers before, before they start filming, because I'm playing this bum anyways. So yeah, I remember him. I'm pretty darn sure I remember him talking about this movie and talking about drinking a bunch of beers before playing this character, since he was playing some greasy bum anyways. And he was saying he would drink like 7 beers before he would go on screen. So I mean, you can't really tell. I thought his performance was pretty darn good in this, and it's always cool to see him. He's in countless movies, not just horror films, but he's like a pretty seasoned actor. So I like seeing him, and in that if once again, if my recollection is correct, in that same documentary, I think he was talking about the movie Ice Cream Man, which I've seen that movie before. It's really not good, and he was talking about like, yeah, I don't think anyone's watched that entire movie. He's like, if you can sit through that entire movie, I'll pay you. So yeah, one day I might have to take Clint Howard up on that offer. I might record myself watching Ice Cream Man in one sitting, and then see if he could like throw me a couple stacks on PayPal. But anyways, yeah, had to just mention those familiar faces first. But yeah, now I'm gonna jump into just some general positives. So one thing that I really liked is like initially it was like jarring watching this. Like I said, the first time I watched it, it was jarring because this movie really has nothing to do with the Silent Night Deadly, like the 3 previous Silent Night Deadly Night films, and it's set around Christmas time, but it really doesn't have that Christmas feel. But just in terms of like a witch centric horror film that has some supernatural elements, this is like a really good supernatural witch movie. You don't get a lot of horror movies centered around witches. So I thought this was a really good story. It was creepy, it was eerie, it was suspenseful. There's this element of paranoia where Kim doesn't know what to believe. She doesn't know what's real and what's in her head, and she starts to like go a little bit crazy, and she doesn't know who to trust, because as the story progresses, she realizes that more and more people are like in cahoots with this coven of witches. So yeah, the story's really good, very unique, very creative. And something else that I have to talk about is, okay, the practical effects, the creature effects, the makeup effects in this movie are absolutely fantastic. So they're done by Screaming Mad George, who he's done. If you look up his, uh, if you look up his Wikipedia, this guy's done countless movies. Like I can't even get into all of his movies, but he's done special makeup effects on so many movies. He actually worked with, I know for a fact he worked with Brian Usna on Society. He did all the makeup for that, and that's the makeup in that film is great. But yeah, once again, he killed it here, with the creature effects. There's a lot of these, like there's this one instance where this giant cockroach comes out of Kim's mouth. There's one point where her legs turn into this almost like cocoon. There's all these different like larvae, like Clint Howard's character. He's always holding up these larvae. They look like larvae or like grubs. They're all like slimy. It looks like like a baby version of a cockroach. It looks like kind of like a really 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 gross scary caterpillar. Like it's all the little bugs and creatures in this are awesome. The makeup is fantastic. Also, there's some, like I said, with the whole like sequence where Kim's legs are turning into a cocoon. Like there's some good body horror. There's a couple instances where her fingers are getting all like elongated and warped and coagulated. Like her yeah, like there's quite a few instances where her body gets all contorted and there's all this really cool body horror that looks really good. So yeah, had to get into those positives. I don't know. That was honestly the meat of my review. I wanted to mention Brian Usna. I'm a fan of him. I wanted to mention Reggie Bannister and Clint Howard, and I wanted to go over my positives. I really did not have any negatives that I wanted to address. So yeah, just in terms of positives, the story is super unique, and if you're watching these movies in order, it is kind of refreshing once you get to this, because it's really not just like a Christmas Santa slasher. It's this kind of cool supernatural witch movie. So yeah, I thought the story was super unique. It was refreshing after watching the other films, especially after watching Part 3, because Part 3 kind of sucks. So this was, it was nice to watch something decent. So yeah, I think the story is cool, the effects are awesome, and it has, it's directed by a director who I'm a big fan of, and it has some familiar faces, some actors that I'm a big fan of as well. So in terms of a recommendation, I would recommend Silent Night, Deadly Night for initiation. I think it is worth your time, worth a watch. It's a cool horror film. Just don't go in expecting it to be like the previous entries in the franchise, and don't go in expecting it to have that heavy Christmas atmosphere. But yeah, if you go in knowing it's its own thing, it's this supernatural witch movie with some cool body horror and some cool creature effects, I think you'll have a good time. So that has been my recommendation, and that has been my review. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.